action. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. We're still doing 3 videos a week. We don't want you to miss out on any of those, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. It is getting to be the time of year where all that grass has grown up as high as it's going to get, and you got to pull out the heavy duty line, the braided line. And I've got a few choices here that we're going to kind of talk about today. That's what this video is going to be about, is braided line. Now, braided line can be extremely overwhelming if you're not familiar with what you're looking at, what you need it to do, things like that. These are the 3 braided lines that I use anywhere in the country. And we got a few different options. I'm going to kind of walk you through what each one excels at and what I use them for, kind of walk you through the whole reasoning behind using braided line and when I like to use braided line over a fluorocarbon or a mono line or something like that. But like I said, braided line can be very overwhelming. I'm trying to simplify it here for you guys, let you guys know exactly what you need for each situation, and just really make it easier for you guys so you guys can watch this video, take this information and apply it to your fishing, and help, in the end, get out there and catch more bass. You know, that's the goal of this whole channel, is to help you guys catch more bass. So appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Let's jump in and let's talk all about braided line. Okay, so if you guys are not familiar with me and the channel and the videos, I use Seaguar fishing line for everything. So Seaguar has a few options in the braided line category, and these are the 3 that I use all the time. And each of them, these 3 are very different lines. You know, each of them are for different situations, different scenarios, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about and break down here today. So we're going to start with this guy. This is the newest braided line. This is the JDM series from Seaguar. It's the PEX8 braided line. Now this is your extremely finesse braided line. This is designed for spinning reels. This is what I have on every single one of my spinning reels. So in reality, this is the braided line that I probably use the most because it's on my spinning rods that I'm using day in and day out. Every single place I go throughout the year, I'm going to have a spinning rod in the boat rigged up with the PEX8. I really like the 18-pound for my spinning reels. It's extremely thin. So don't get me, you know, the 18-pound may scare some people, but it is extremely thin, and you know, it casts extremely well, extremely strong, ties knots great, and excellent choice for all of your spinning rod needs. So that's what I'm using. It's an 8-strand braid. It's extremely smooth, thin. I could go on and on about the PEX8 braid. One of my favorite features, maybe you guys will be able to see it on the spool. Can I pull it out? Yes. Maybe you guys will be able to see it on the spool here, but it is a 2-tone color. So it is a pinkish red colored braid, but every meter, so every 1 meter, there is a section of green that is 15 centimeters is what the box says. So I don't know what that translates to inches like us Americans are used to. But that gives me what I like to use it for is a strike indicator. So if I'm throwing, say, a wacky worm Cinco or a bait that is slowly falling, I can make a cast and let my braided line sit on top of the water, and I'll just watch one of those sections of that green. And when I see it move off quickly or see it jump, I know a fish bit my bait that is slowly sinking. So I really like the 2-tone color of that braided line for that reason on my finesse approaches. So the PEX8 gets the call on all of my spinning rods. You know, I used to use the Smackdown, but I have since transferred over to the PEX since that's came out, and I've really fell in love with that. So let's move on from the spinning rods. And let's talk about the heavy braided line, because that's kind of what we're going to get into here in this rest of this video. Is there's 2 options from Seaguar. You got the Smackdown, like I just mentioned, that's available, you know, in every single size you could imagine, from 10-pound all the way up to 65-pound. And then the same goes for the Tactics braided line. And what separates these 2 is the Smackdown is an 8-strand braid, and the Tactics is a 4-strand braid. Now, I'm not gonna get into the science behind each of those, but basically the easiest way I could explain it that you'll understand is the 8-strand braid is gonna feel a lot smoother running through your guides because it's smaller braided line wrapped around each other. So there's eight strands that are wrapped around each other in each one of these. And then the Tactics is only 4. So it's gonna feel a little bit rougher running through your guides or in your hands. I mean, that's kind of the easiest way I can explain it. But each of these have an excellent application in your boat for what you're wanting to do. So let's start with the Tactics. This has become my favorite all-around braided line. Like if I'm throwing moving baits, throwing topwater, throwing a swim jig, a frog, I'm picking up the Tactics. I love how strong and durable it is. You know, you can rig up or spool up a couple spools of this, a 40, a 50, a 65, and you can really abuse it and throw it heavy cover, throw it on a frog, and you really don't even have to retie. It cuts through grass extremely well. And that's my favorite part about this, is just how durable it is and how quickly it will cut through that vegetation. So say you make a long cast with a frog, get him way out there, fish blows up and eats it, and you set the hook, you got to really put some tension on him to get him coming through that grass. But when you have a braided line that actually helps assist that and slice through that grass a little bit easier, it helps you in the end in landing those fish. So the Tactics gets my call, gets my that's the way? My call, my choice for all of those techniques where I'm fishing around heavy matted grass, throwing a frog, swim jig, top waters, you know, swim worm. Anytime I'm casting and winding, I'm throwing this guy right here. Now, the Smackdown, this is a very different braid. You know, I used to throw this on my frogs until the Tactics came out, and I've really started to lean more towards the Tactics. But the Smackdown, I feel like still excels in your flipping and your pitching, where you're punching through that heavy matted vegetation. So if I'm flipping a, you know, 1 ounce weight, 1.5 ounces, 2 ounce weight, I'm picking up the Smackdown for a couple reasons. Like we kind of started with, it's a little bit smoother. So it actually slides through that heavy cover a little bit better. You can kind of pull it in and out of that matted vegetation better, just because it's so smooth. It slides up and down through there. And then I like the stealth gray color. That's one thing we didn't talk about on the Tactics, which we'll pull out the color so I can show you this guy as well. So the Tactics is more of a camo colored braid. It's kind of a green and brown mixed. Hopefully you guys are able to see that on the spool there. Hopefully you guys can see that. It is a green and brown mix. So it's a camo-ish color, but I really like that for my moving baits like we talked about. Now the Smackdown, it is more of a stealth gray color. It is a dark grayish braided line. Hopefully you guys can see that in the video. But I feel like this is a better color option on your braided line for the flipping, the punching, that kind of stuff. So those are the 3 braided line options that get the call in my boat from Seaguar. So quick little recap. Smackdown, that's for my flipping, my punching, heavy cover, flipping stick. I'm picking up 50-pound Smackdown, 65-pound Smackdown. Those are really the 2 sizes that I'm using in this. Now the Tactics, that's my all-around use. Top water, swim jig, frogs, you name it. Anything you're casting and winding with braided line, I'm throwing the Tactics. And generally I'm going with 40-pound. I will throw the frog sometimes on 50-pound, maybe up to 65 on extremely thick cover, but Tactics for all of those use. And then the PEX8 for all my spinning rods. So appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I simplified braided line for you guys and you can use this and apply it for what you need. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave me those likes, comments, good stuff down below. Don't forget, hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time.